Hello friends, welcome back. This is Amit from Magnet, and this is the second video on the tutorial series that things you should know about Element 3D. And in this video we're going to learn that how you can improve your lighting for Element 3D. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So if you are new to this channel, I recommend you to check my videos, and if you find those videos useful, please do subscribe this channel and turn the notification on. And here is the name for those people who has already joined me as a member. So if you really want to support me, you can also join me as a member. So let's get started. So I have this render here, and I rendered this image by using Element 3D, and I'm get this model from the Sketchfab. And if you want to download this model, you can get the link in the description down below, and also this background model as well. So it is a render with a minimal light setup, and you can see that it look nice. But I have another version of this as well, so here it is. So now you can see that the lighting on this image is far better than the previous version. And if I select this, and if I do a side-by-side comparison here, so I make a mask, and if I scrub through this mask, you will see the difference very noticeable. Because in the previous version of this image, the dark side is so much dark and we lose all the details here and here also. But in the second version, you will see that all details are here, but it still work as a shadow side. So in this video, we're going to learn that how we can improve our lighting from this kind of render to this render. Okay, so let's get started. So in this composition, I made a simple scene by using Element 3D and those models from the Sketchfab, and you can see that there is no lighting, because if you see here, there is no lights, okay, even ambient light. So we're going to make some lighting change here and see that how we can improve the lighting. So first we see that what we have inside After Effects. So if we go to the layer, new, and go to this light option here, you will see that we have 4 types of lights here, that is parallel, spot, point, and this ambient light. Before we dig into this After Effects all light setup, let's see that what we have inside Element 3D. So if I delete this parallel light here, you will see that there already a light here, and this is not an actual light, it's a simulated light by Element 3D. These lights are good, and you can also change these light settings from here. If you go to this render settings for Element 3D and go to the lighting, there is an option called add lightings, and in default it's none. If you go here, and you will see that so much of light setups here. If you select this single light, you will see that nothing is changes because the default light was single light. And then if we change this to clean blue, you will see that the lighting is changed. Okay, so you can make a dramatic light by using those light presets here, but there is one problem, and the problem is that those lights are not able to create any shadow to your scene. So you can make a very good light setup by using those things, but you will not get any shadow to your objects. Okay, so these light are useless for that context, so make this none for now. So but we have another things to improve our lighting. So for this we going to this scene setup. So here you can see that this scene look nice, but it is very dark. In version 2, they implemented a settings called this physical wave shader, and that means that if you put any HDRI map or environment map into this environment slot, you can see that these slots are basically empty for now. But if you put any HDRI map into this environment slot, your scene is light up according to the environment map. Okay, so let's put a environment map for this scene. So go to this environment and go to this load texture, and I downloaded this HDRI map from the HDRI Heaven, and you can also get the download link in the description down below. So I just double click on it, and you will see that this HDRI map, and when I put this HDRI map, you will see that the lighting is changed. Okay, and you can also decrease or increase the light intensity by changing this slider here. Okay, just like this, and you will see that the lighting of the scene is changed is because of this previous shaders. Okay, that is the physical wave shaders. So now hit OK here, and if you go here, in default this button is off, but if you turn this on, you will also see the environment map into this viewport. Okay, and if you press shift and hold the shift key and click and drag your mouse, you will move your environment map. Okay, and you will see that when you move your environment map, the lighting also changed to your model here. Okay, so now you can make some of lighting to your scene by changing the environment map, but make sure that the environment map also match or very close to your scene. Okay, so then it also can make a nice result to your scene. Okay, so just like this. So we put an HDRI map. So let's see that what change we made by putting this HDRI map. So just hit OK here, and now you will see that the floor is so light up, okay, by this HDRI map. So in order to change the settings, you will go to this render settings and go to this physical environment. So this physical environment is basically control this environment map settings. Okay, so here we have exposures, gamma, tint, and the light influence. So first we go to this exposure setting. If you make this 0, you will lose all the light that comes from this environment map. But remember that the environment map light doesn't create any shadow to your object. Okay, it just for this ambient light, or you can say the global illumination. So if you make this exposure at 0, you will lose all the light which comes from the environment map. So maybe we can make a value that is a 0.5, and you will get a little bit of light from the environment map. Okay, or you can make this default, that is the 1, and then we come to this gamma option here, and if you increase this gamma, you can increase the contrast of your environment map, or if you decrease this, you will decrease the contrast of your environment map. Okay, so make this default as well, that is the number 1. And now you can also change the tint of your environment lighting. So if you go to this color box here, and you can change the light, or you can say the tint light of your environment map. Okay, but it's not that useful if you make any scene like this. So just make it white for now. And now there is the light influence. So if you make this 100, it can catch all the light that you put manually, that is the light from the HDRI map or the environment map, or you can put any light from here, that is the AE light, which is those lights. If you put some of the lights here, it will interact with the all intensity of your light. But for now I delete this light. So we always have to make this influence 100, but you can also decrease it according to your need. So say if you want some of the default light and the dedicated light, you can make this to 50% or so. In that way you will get a default lit 50% and your dedicated light influence 50%. Okay, but for now I make this to 100% here. Okay, and now you can also put your custom HDRI map from here, but I leave it for now because I will covering all the light setting in this video. Okay, so now we put a HDRI map and we get this result. Okay, so now we put some After Effects lights. So as we say that we have 4 types of lights here, but this ambient light is not a exact light. It's a ambient light, which means that the light comes from the surroundings. Okay, and it also not able to create any shadow. So basically we have 3 types of proper lights here. So first we talk about this parallel light. So just select this parallel light and then you can change the color from here. But for in this video we make this color to white. And the intensity is also self-explanatory, that if you increase this value, the light intensity will increase, and if you decrease this, light intensity will decrease. And then this is the very important option, that is the cast shadows. If you turn this on, you will be able to make some shadow to your scene, but if you turn this off, your scene will not have any shadow. Okay, so make sure that you turn this on, and then we see this shadow darkness. So if you increase this value, your shadow darkness will increase, and the decrease value, your shadow darkness will decrease. Okay, but for this video we set it to 100% and then we just hit OK. And now you will see that instantly your scene got a nice result here. Okay, So now you will see that if I put the light, our scene will work without the environment map lighting, but not. If you go to this element and then you go to this physical environment and go to this exposure, and if you make this 0, so if I make this 0, our environment map lighting will no longer affect. So let's see that what result we get if we make this 0. So now you will see that our scene is not light up properly, and you can see that the basement is got all dark here. So now you will understand that even if you have a single light or a parallel light in your scene, you also need the environment map lighting to make a better result. Okay, so make this 1. So now you will see that the light highlights are too much bright here, and it also creates a nice result or a nice highlight to your scene. Okay, so this is how you can make a proper lighting to your scene, but we're not stopping here. So let's see that when we use the parallel light. Parallel light is a light which very nicely mimic the light from the sun, because as the name says, all the light photons particles comes from the source parallelly, and it happens when the light source is far distant away. And so this is very useful when you make any outdoor scene, and if you want to make or mimic the sunlight by using those lights, you can use this parallel light. And there are 2 options here, which is this light position option, and if you click here, you can literally move your light. And there is another option, that is the anchor point. You can also change your light anchors. Okay, so let's see that how we can change the position of your light. So if you're not able to put your light from this default view, you can go to this view option here and go to these 4 views. Okay, so now you'll get 4 views, that is the top view and the front view and the active camera, which is our main view, and the right side view. Okay, so in this way you can move your light or change your light position very easily. So here you can just go to this box here and go select this parallel light, and you can also change the parallel light from the top here, just like this, or you can just click on here, and when you see that this dark point of mouse pointer here, you can change your light from here. Okay, so you can put your light in the z-axis from the back side, or you can put your light in the front side. You can just do it from here. Okay, and you will see that if I change our light from here, you will literally get a nice result to your scene. Okay, just like this. And you can also do the same from the front side if you want, or from the right side if you want. And when you satisfied your light position, you can go to these views and make this one view. Okay, and now you will see that it creates a very nice result to your scene. Only using a single parallel light and a environment map, you will get this nice lighting for your scene. Okay, but we're not stopping here, because we also get some dark spots here. Okay, so now the ambient light comes very handy, because as the name says, the ambient light is the light which comes from the environment. So again, in order to put the ambient light, go to the layer, new, and go to this lights, and then we change these light types to ambient. Okay, and then we go to this color option here. So in order to use the ambient light in a very proper way or effective way, let's see that which color is dominant here. So here you can see that these warm orange colors are very dominant to this scene. So we go to this color and go to this, make this little bit of orange kind of light. Okay, just like this, and then we hit OK. And it is very not a constant color, it can be changed according to your scene. And then we go to this intensity. So make this intensity very less, maybe we set it to 50 for now, and we can also change it according to our need, but for this time being we set this to 50. And then we hit OK, and you can see that the cast shadow switch is disabled here, because our ambient light is not able to make any shadow to our scene. Okay, and just hit OK. And now you will see that we get so much of details on the darker portion here. Okay, so now you'll see that by using a environment map and a single parallel light and a ambient light, we create this kind of nice light setup for our scene. Okay, so now you will see that this result going so much better. Okay, so let's see that what we have previously. If we uncheck our ambient light and the parallel light as well as the exposure by using from the environment map, if you make this 0, you will see that we have this render without any light, but with little bit of light setups we get this nice result. Okay, so this is how you can improve your lights. Okay, so this is a simple light setup by using the parallel light. But one thing, if we select our camera here and go to this camera setup here, and you will see that if I change our position, you will see that the shadow is so hard here. If you go to the shadow option here, and you can get two types of shadow modes here. So we have the shadow mapping and the ray tracing. So if we select our ray trace shadow here, you will get so much nice detailed shadow. So you will see that the shadow is too dark and hard here. So one thing you can change, that you can decrease the shadow darkness. So go to this parallel light and go to the light settings, and you can decrease the shadow darkness by 20%. Now you will get shadow, but the shadow is too fade and it does not look right. So maybe we can increase this to 80%, and you will get a little bit of light shadow here. And it is very important according to your lighting intensity to your scene, because if you have a too intense light, the shadow will not that intense, because we also have the environment light which can influence the darkness of the shadows. Okay, so make sure that, but we still have this hard kind of shadow here. But if you want to make a very soft shadow, you have to change the lighting type. Okay, so now the spotlights come in action. So let's make a spotlight and see that what we have if we use the spotlight. So go to this parallel light, go to the layer and go to the light settings. Then we go to this light type and we change this to spotlight. And now you will see that our shadow getting softer, but we have so much of grains in the shadow, but we fix it later on. So let's see that when we use spotlight, what options we have here. So first we have the color, this is very simple, and the intensity, which is also self-explanatory. And now we have two new options, that is the cone angle and the cone feather. So the spotlight is a kind of light which emit the light particles from the source to a very cone type of shape angles. Means that if you see the light here, so first we hit OK here, and if you go to the spotlight here, and if you see, if we change the light position here, you will see that the light source is here, but the photon that emit from this light, you can see that it creates a cone type of shape here. Okay, so now if you go to the spotlight and go to this light settings here, if you increase this cone angle, you can see that you literally increase this cone angle here. So basically this cone angle you increasing by increase these angles. Okay, so this angle increasing according to your cone angles, and also the cone feather. So if you make this increase this cone feather, you will see that the light boundaries will make a nice feather here. Okay, and now you will see that it also make a soft shadow here. So let's see what else we have here. So go to the light settings again. You will see that there are two options here now, that is the shadow darkness and the shadow diffusion. So make the shadow darkness to 100% for now. Okay, and you will see that very dark shadow here, and then we have this shadow diffusion. Okay, so if you increase this value, you will get a more diffuse shadow here. Okay, so when we use the spotlight, the when you use any outside scene, the spotlight is not so effective because the spotlight mimics the light which is very close to our scene. So but it not mimic very accurately the sunlight. So when we create any indoor scene, we have the spotlight is very effective than the parallel light. Okay, so if you consider this scene as a indoor scene, and if you use the spotlight, your render will be very accurate according to your scene. Okay, and if you make this diffusion increase, you will see that the shadow diffuse very nicely, and but you will also see that there are so much of grains, but we can fix those grains later. And if you decrease this value, you will see that less diffuse shadow here. Okay, so make this maybe 200 for now. Okay, and then we hit OK, and also we change the light position here. So select this light position, and you can also have two types of anchors here, which is this anchor point. You can change the light, or you can rotate your light by changing this anchor point. And if you go here and just click, and when you see that mouse pointer, you can change the light position. Okay, but you can fix the point of interest of the light still on your object here. Okay, but you will see that the light intensity is too high and our scene is blown up. So one thing you have to do, that go to this spotlight, and instead of going to this light setting every time, you can do one thing, that just make a little room here, go to the spotlight and collapse this light and press AA, and you will get all the light settings here. Okay, and we can decrease the intensity. So maybe we decrease this intensity just like this. Okay, just like this. And you can also change the shadow diffusion from here, as well as the cast shadow option. If you turn this off, the shadow is gone, and if you turn this on, shadow is on. Okay, but we have those grains. So how we get rid of those grains? So go to this element and just go down here and go to the shadows, and you only get those kind of diffuse shadow when you use this ray trace shadow mode. Okay, but if you use the shadow mapping, you will not get that much of diffuse shadow here, but it will create a nice diffuse shadow when you use spotlight, but not that good. Okay, so in order to get a nice result, you have to change this to ray trace. But remember that ray trace shadow is so much of GPU hungry settings. So if you have a nice powerful GPU, you can use ray trace shadow. But before turning on the ray trace shadow, always save your project. It is very important, because anytime your system going to crash when you use the ray trace shadow. This scene is not that heavy, so I'm using the ray trace shadow very easily. But if I put more object here, the ray trace shadow will be very costly. Okay, and we have those grains, so get rid of this. So it is very easy. If you make little space here, you will see that the ray trace shadows, under this ray trace shadow, you will see the ray trace shadow samples and the multi-sampling. Okay, just increase this value to maybe 5, and you will get a nice diffuse shadow here. Okay, without the grain, but we still have some grains here. So in order to rid of those, you can also increase this samples value little bit more, maybe 8, and you will get a nice result here. Okay, but our shadow diffusion is too high that we lose the shadow. So in order to fix this, make the shadow samples to maybe 5 for now, because I don't want my system to crash. And go to the spotlight and press AA, and you can decrease the shadow diffusion to maybe 150. And now you will see that we have little bit of more shadows here, but we're still not getting the right numbers here. So we change this value, make this 100, and now you will see that nice result here. But we have to put our light anyway a very interesting position to get a nice result. So again, we go to this camera option here and make nice camera position here, just like this, or maybe here. Okay, and now we go to our parallel light here, or I mean the spotlight here, and change the light position. So again, in order to change the light position in a very effective way, go to this view, go to this 4 views, okay, and go to this top view, select this light position and place it here. Okay, so make a little bit of highlight on the edge. Okay, and go to the single view or a one view, and you will see that it creates a nice result, but our surface is blown away. Okay, it's because that our light is too intense, and if you make this light little bit down here, and also we change this anchor point. Okay, now you'll see that. So now you understand that when you use the spotlight, this spotlight is very useful for any indoor scene, and the parallel light is very important for the outdoor scene. Okay, and you can also make your light improve by using this environment map and a ambient light. Okay, so but what if you want to make a very dramatic lighting to your scene? So now comes the point light. So the point light, if we go to the layer, new, and create a point light here, go to the light, and then we make a point light here. Okay, make a point light. So the point light basically the light which emits the photons in every direction. From a single point, it will emit all the lights from every direction. So let's create a point light here and change the color if you want, but leave it as white and intensity 400%. And you can also get the shadow diffusion and the shadow darkness for the point light settings. Okay, and just hit OK. And now you have a point light here. So according to the name, if we put a point light here, or maybe for the time being we disable our spotlight, and we only have the point light here. Okay, so the point light is the light which can emit the photons in every direction of the light, and you can see that the marking also says so that this point the light emits in every direction from this point. Okay, so let's put this light in a very interesting position. So again, go to these 4 views, and here is the light, and we just change the position of the light from here. Okay, just like this, and you will see that it creates a nice result. Okay, and also we go here and make this light little bit down here. Okay, and again we go to our main view here. So now we'll see that the point light also makes some shadows here. But remember that point light only makes shadow when you use the ray trace shadow. So if you go to the element layer and go to the shadows option here, and if you make this shadow mapping, you will not get any shadow from this point light. Okay, so make sure that when you use point light and you don't get any shadow, so don't just scream your system that why my system not generating any shadow. Before doing that, make sure that you change your shadow mode to ray traced. Okay, and it also makes some diffuse shadows. So if you have grains in your shadow, you can increase the shadow samples. So make this light little top here. So now here is one issue. The issue is that you can see that our light is here, and according to our light and the source distance, we have a light intensity here, but you can see that the same intensity throughout the whole environment here. Okay, because you can see that the light intensity on this pillar is same as the intensity on this pillar, which is very far away. So it is not a correct scene, because according when the distance increase, the light intensity also decrease according to the distance. So how to fix this? So in element 3D we have an option inside the render settings, and under this render setting you will see the lighting. There is the option that is called the light fall off. Okay, so if you make this default, go to this, reset this value, the default value is 0. Okay, but if you increase this value, like this, you can restrict the light propagation. You can see that if you decrease this value, we get the same intensity all over the world, or maybe if you make this 0, we get the light intensity all over the wall is linear or same. But if we increase this light follow values, we restrict the light propagation, and this is the actual scenario, and this is what we want when we put any light in our world. Okay, so it is very useful when you use the point light, because the parallel light, it's a directional light, so the light comes from a single direction, and in that way this light follow is not so important because you always get a nice result. But when you use the point light, it is very important that you have to change this light follow values according to your scene. Okay, and if you increase this value, and then you select this light, and if you change the light position here, and if you put the light very closer to your scene or your object here, you will get a very few position light up by this light. Okay, and if you go to the point light and press T to bring the light intensity, and if you increase this value, you will get the light that interact the object which is near to the light, but not the object which is very far away from the light. Okay, so make sure that you change this light follow values or follow options when you use the point light. Okay, so make sure that you can use point light, but you also make sure that you change the light follow values. Okay, so this is how you can put all the lights in your scene and make a nice light setup. Okay, so we have all the three lights, that is the point light, spotlight, as well as an ambient light. And if you go to this point light, if you go to this spotlight here and go to this light settings and change this to parallel light, you will get also nice result. But now you will see that we not getting the light according to our need. Why? It's because we change the light follow values. So go to this element, go to this light follow and just reset this. Voila, and now you will get a nice result. Okay, so now you'll understand that when you use the light follow settings, when you use the point light, you have to change the light follows according to your scene. Okay, and you can also get the parallel light settings and the spotlight settings. Okay, so I hope that this video is really help you out when you set up the light. Okay, so now let's see that how I set up this kind of dramatic lights, because you will see that all lights are moving. Okay, so how I set up this? So here is this composition here where I create this scene, and you will see that I have some point lights here. So I have 3 point lights here, and I link 3 point lights with a single null object here. That is the null object that controls those lights. And I put a simple expression on this rotation of this null object, and it rotates forever. And according to this rotation, the light also changes the position, and the lighting also changes the position here. So how I rotate this null object? So here is the null object, and I press R, and you will see that I make a expression here. So if we explain this, and you will see that expression is very simple. That is the time, which is the small letter time times 100. Or if I just disable this rotation expression for now, and if I move this, and you will see that the light also change the position. So this is way you can make a dramatic light rotation on your objects. Okay, So it is very easy, but it look nice. So I made this for the demonstration of lighting, and I also download this model from the Sketchfab, and it is a very 3D scan model and it look really nice. So I use this model, and if you want to download this model, link in the description down below. Okay, so this is how you can make a null object to control your all the lights. Okay, so I hope that you get some new ideas from this video, and I hope that I explain the all light settings, and believe me that I always use this kind of light settings to make my scenes, and you always get a nice result if you use this kind of settings. So now you understand that how we make our render from this to this. Okay, so I hope you really enjoyed this video. So I upload this video after a very long time because in the previous month I got very busy and I can't upload any videos, so I have to apologize for this, but from now on you get videos in every week, and I hope you enjoy this video so much. So if you like this video, please make a thumbs up and please watch my other videos, and if you like those videos, please do subscribe this channel and turn the notification on, and we will see in my next video. So till then, take care and bye bye.